Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Enhancing the Human Experience. I am Mark Phillips, and I'm here with my very good friend, Trentamus Briggs, and we're going to talk about some of the expert knowledge that he has in health and wellness and Reiki. We might even touch on that. I know you are well-versed in a number of well-being enhancement modalities, Trent. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Mark. I'm honored to be here.
Great. And we got together the other day. Every time I get together with you, I come away with like all these new ideas and techniques and practices that you've kind of made me aware of that are super beneficial. So thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm honored to feel the same in return.
Thank
I always
you.
Leave happy and enlightened and having some nuggets to take with me.
And that's kind of how I think it should be, right?
Yes.
I mean, we all are teaching each other all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. And we haven't caught up in a while. So yesterday, I kind of learned you are still in your like zone of genius in the well-being and body wisdom and stuff like that. So tell us what you're doing right now.
Sure. So I do Reiki Mastership, and I do what's called bioresonance scanning, meridian stress analysis. So I have a machine that can read the quantum field, find exactly what is occurring in the body on all frequencies. So it can check and find in the body exactly what is occurring, what wants to be opened and rebuilt, and energetically find what the physical healing aspect and the energetic balancing aspect is. I do intuitive coaching and a lot of consciousness coaching, expanding consciousness awareness, which is enveloped within addictions, depression. So just expanding the awareness and consciousness actually folds those things away. And health and wellness coaching as well, just finding where someone is lacking in health and wellness physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually.
See, and that's what I like about you is you have deep knowledge in each of those areas, but they're all well-rounded and interconnected, where you're kind of like have a number of tools and different aspects that can help heal people, because that's ultimately what you're doing, right? The consciousness factor, right?
Right, exactly. And a little bit of my background and why I did this, Mark, is when I was young, we had the standard American diet. We ate from packages and cans, and guess what? My dad at 42 died of cancer.
Oh. And sorry to hear that.
Luckily we're all one, and everything transitions into something else, and we never essentially stop existing. We just transmute. So, and my mother's always had fibromyalgia and back issues and addictions, and quite a significant amount of challenges throughout her life. And of course I love those two more than anything in the world. And to watch them go through as much pain as I had, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, it really had done a number to my heart. And I, of course, followed in their footsteps, and at 23, severely overweight, 40 pounds overweight, lots of pains, addicted to many substances, very unhappy, anxiety, depression, you name it. And I was in it. And then I woke up one day and I literally had a chunk of flab in my hand from underneath my arm. And for some reason, that is what woke me up. And I stopped, slowly through time, stopped utilizing the poor habits, eating out and putting substances in my body that weren't healthy for me, and just started working out and stopped making excuses, and just continually over time just got better and better. And now I'm finally physically where I've always wanted to be, mentally where I've always wanted to be, emotionally where I've always wanted to be, and even spiritually. So now I wish to give that gift back to others and who are in the same path that I have been in.
Well, yeah, and I know a little bit of your story, but I didn't know you then. I've only known you as like super fit, super clean eater, super pure living. Like you look like a model, Trent. Come on. I mean, but so that was you had like the wake up call, and that was the flip the switch. Then did you just start going out and seeking health, wealth, and spiritual knowledge?
Yeah, obsessively, and I use obsessively on purpose. I really was obsessed, and I literally had hundreds of dollars worth of very toxic supplements on my counter. I would take probably 40 a day, literally. So I learned all the things not to do. I did the standard bodybuilding diet, got very sick, bloated, wasn't really gaining any muscle
with like the whey the whey proteins and all the highly processed, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which, like most people, that's what is marketed to us, and that's what they put big money into, that stuff. And so of course that's going to be step one in your evolutionary process to get well, right? What are they selling until you peel the layer away, right? So that you found that didn't help you.
Not at all. No, it made it worse. And I was noticed my stomach was bloating. I looked like I was pregnant, and no matter how many sit-ups I did or how hard I worked out my abs, and I found out later it was excess fecal matter from all the meat I was eating.
Yeah.
And so I really learned what not to do over process, and that's been beautiful as well, because then now I can relate and empathize with someone, and also have gone through that process and really have sharpened my understanding through it.
I think that's the key, because you have that empathy now.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who come to you can stand on the shoulders of giants, so to speak, and go further, right? And you can take like help them quantum leap past the years, through the years of you went through it, and said, hey, don't do any of these things. I've been there, done that. Mm-hmm. Do this. And you give them like I think that's hugely valuable to your clients.
It is. Yeah, it really is. That is a big part of why I use the bioresonance machine, because it can pick up exactly what is occurring within minutes. It's like taking a blood test times 1,000 and knowing the results within 10-15 minutes. Having a printout, even knowing, let's say someone's low in amino acids or vitamins, enzymes, fatty acids. Though even one of those is no small thing. And so it picks up how physically challenging it is to the body, and how much is needed. So if someone's low in L-leucine, it can find out how much they need each day and how it's affecting the body and where, rather than just saying you're low in it, which is what blood samples do, and it takes weeks to get back.
I was going to say, yeah. So other than that difference, what is another difference than the bioresonance compared to the blood sample?
Yeah, good question. It also checks all of the meridians in the body, so it gives a full printout. The first scan I do is called the comprehensive analysis. So it will literally have a communication with the innate intelligence of the body, and say, body, what do you want to work on most right now? What are the root causes of everything else? And the body will give this feedback, and every time it's spot on with the person. So let's say I had a person the other day, they had significant skin issues coming out, and I only put in their name, their address, phone number, email, date of birth, gender, and then I click go and have them hold on to these probes, and then it gives me the readout, and every time it knows what is occurring with them. So it came up that she had staph infection, and so then what it does is it finds which doors are closed in the body and the meridian systems, and then which keys will unlock those doors. And there's two types. There's the regular door, and then there's the deadbolt. The regular doorknob is the energetic portion of it. Our emotions literally create everything that exists around us, including our physical body, through what's called a neurological protein or neuropeptide. And the guy that taught us transcendental meditation actually taught me that, Dr. Denny Goodman. And so each thought we have literally creates the cells through our body, just like Bumblebee did on Transformers, where it scanned the Camaro and then it became the Camaro. That's how our cells reproduce itself. And so that is an energetic manifestation of the physical. So it starts always as an energetic manifestation. So a blood sample cannot check anything other than something that is very physically present. This can read all levels. So it can read what even emotions are. The last client we had just before you came here, it knew her emotions, and she completely related, and that is what had caused her neck rash, were the emotions that had come up. There's a bacteria along with it. And I even asked her, were these emotions present at that time? And she said, yes, they were. It was essentially suppressing bitterness. And so it came out of her skin. That toxic aspect of the mind went into the body and then wanted to release through the skin, so it did not cause issues later.
Wow, that's fascinating, actually. So I can totally see it. Almost seems like the blood work is way downstream from the actual occurrence or cause, right?
Yeah.
Is this a proprietary machine, or is it a technology that... Is there only like one technology and one maker of the machine, or is it multiple people making these machines?
You know, Mark, there's quite a few available out there. There's the Syra, the Quest 4, and several others. And I did quite a bit of research to find the best one that I felt would resonate most with my practice, what I wanted to create. And then worked with this one. Not only does it find the keys to unlock the door, the regular doorknob is the energetic. The deadbolt is the physical. So it might find, let's say with that woman, she needed a coconut oil or something to take care of the bacteria or an infection, and so there needed to be a cleanse, or that would be the physical key for the deadbolt. Now the energetic key would be a specific frequency. In this case, it was 334 megahertz. So it takes the frequency of the physical aspect and the 332 megahertz frequency, and it imprints it into a carbon-based solution, so that when she takes the homeopathic drops, it has the precise frequency to unlock that let's say her neck rash, to unlock and cleanse that out with her own frequency tied to it.
Wow. I imagine just you telling me this is kind of like blowing my mind, like it healing on all levels.
Yeah.
I imagine you've seen miracles.
Miracles. Yeah. There's a woman that had gone to Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins. She had very poor balance and significant migraines. They had done test after test, essentially had told her, your migraines are causing your balance issues. Well, what were causing the migraines? So after years, she went to Hawaii, and lots of money, lots of time. She was at the same place she was before. So she came in, had a scan done. The gentleman next to her does the hyperbaric chamber, said, hey, you should really have this checked out. And within 5 minutes, we found that she had the frequencies of Lyme disease.
Wow.
So we started doing, even if it in homeopathy, like balances where even if it wasn't specifically Lyme, it was close enough to resonate in that same field. So treating it as if it was, her migraines went away within a couple of weeks. They balanced, and then her balance started getting better, where she didn't need the crutches as much anymore, and she could take care of her daughter more. And so it's amazing to see what can be done when you're reading at the quantum field. Yeah.
How old is this technology? How long has it been around?
It's been around since the 60s. Dr. Reinhard Voll of Germany, actually, he was a quantum physicist, scientist. He found this. And it's been around for a long time.
It sounds like, and I probably read about this in passing, but it almost sounds like a number of these type of healing modalities that aren't very prevalent in the United States, but they're used mainstream in other nations. Is that would you say that's accurate?
It's true. Yeah. It really is almost a standard tool in other countries.
I can imagine. Mm-hmm. I can imagine. So you grab onto these sensors.
Yeah, exactly. They're probes and electrodermal scanning, so it sends very low voltage frequencies, energies through the body, and then it creates an output. It goes through one hand, it comes out the other, and then essentially as a messenger has picked up messages along the way and then inputs on the screen.
Wow, that's totally fascinating. I can totally see how that'd be hugely helpful in what you do.
It makes my life a lot easier.
Well, yeah.
Instead of saying, well, you may be low in B12 because these presentations of what you're seeing could be from this. It's literally going in, making 2 clicks and seeing how they're doing at B12.
Sure. That's absolutely fascinating. So, okay, so that machine is helpful in helping you heal people.
Mm-hmm. I can't legally say heal. FDA regulations, but
sure.
frequencies that are balanced through the utilization of quantum physics, yes.
Okay, is wellness a more appropriate word?
Yeah, balancing into a greater level of wellness.
Okay,
yeah, that's perfect.
Gotcha. I'm glad you clarified that. I didn't realize that.
No problem.
So talk about the consciousness, because I know you have deep knowledge in that and a lot of expertise there, about that being the source of all everything flowing from that, right? Then these things manifest from that.
Yeah. That is life itself. If we look at quantum physics, quantum mechanics, it actually double-slit experiment. I mean, over and over again, Dr. Masaru Emoto's work with plants and water, and just a lot of the science is proving what great sages have said for a very long time, is our thoughts literally create our reality. Where to someone for a while, including myself, at first that's a very deep thought, right? Oh yeah, sure. But then when you go deeper down the rabbit hole and you continually take the red pill, right? Every moment is a red pill, blue pill. Do you choose to express your greater self, your divine self? Do you choose to let go of the reality that you believed to be true before? Or do you expand in the consciousness of the world and find what's really down that rabbit hole, right? And for me, it's been another obsession of mine to find what is down the rabbit hole, because the more I did, I went from suicidal, literally putting a gun in my mouth, taking pills and waking up and wishing I hadn't, to now my life is beautiful. And I truly believe it's from my health and wellness, of what I'm putting in my body and my mind, and going down the rabbit hole and continually taking the red pill to expand my understanding about life. And what I found in my coaching is that is also hugely critical for someone that's going through what they're going through, to know that there is a greater reality than what they may understand and believe, and to take a macroscopic view of what is occurring, and then you see addictions go away, you see depression go away, you see more happiness and joy in someone's life when they know there's something greater here than what we understood before. And so I've continually done that in life, and now I've gotten to a good point to where I see that there isn't anything that isn't everything. And there isn't anything in our life that isn't for a purpose, for us to choose who we truly wish to be. It isn't why is this happening, it's who do I choose to be from this. And then, like the virtual, I believe, one of my far out there beliefs that I love playing with is that life is a virtual reality game. If you've ever put on a virtual reality suit, or what they have now, you literally go into a different world and your body does not know the difference.
Yeah.
The heart rate speeds up when someone's attacking you, or you're looking at something beautiful and you feel the serotonin and dopamine flood your body of just feeling good. And so one of my beliefs is that this really is a virtual reality game, and what we choose to be in each moment sets up the next level.
Yeah.
So if someone's coming at us with negativity or judgment or fear? Or do we allow our fears to have control of us, or do we push through them? Or do we think the same thought we have since childhood? Do we choose to be the same being that we have been, even though we say that we're being something different? Or all of those decisions, and each day sets up the next level or day in our life. And if we look consciously enough at our reality in our life in each day, we will notice patterns. And so when we notice those patterns and say, okay, this day or this level, I'm going to choose the more being that I wish to be, which is more loving, more accepting, and also standing in my divinity and dignity at the same time. So how may I express myself more to someone in a way that they understand what is important to me, and I also honor and understand what is important to them? And that with those inter and intrapersonal relationships are kind of the basis of that which we manifest in our next experience of reality. And then we just keep doing that. We really can look at life and choose differently and expand our beingness and our awareness, and that, I believe, is needed more so now than ever in this world. Because if we look at the challenges we have in this world, it's essentially deriving from fear of not having enough, or not understanding, respecting someone else's belief, ideas, or opinions. And that all stems from a very weak intrapersonal foundation. So one believing that their foundation is not solid enough to where they can handle someone else's beliefs. And having a fear of a lack of security or love of self is the biggest one. And if we work on those things, the foundation, the roots of what's causing the issues, then the things like addictions and fear and war and all those things go away. The war within the self goes away.
I'm glad you said that, because that has been something that I've seen come up very frequently. Whereas sometimes people think, well, I got to work on a specific thing to get a specific result. But what you just said is very profound, and I've seen other people say that too, is that get in alignment with loving yourself and realizing that it's all connected, and like healing just this one little area, and then that cause is huge. And like you said, addictions get better, your body heals. So you see that in your work too then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It just like in the soil of a garden, if we look at the leaves are browning, right? And that generally means almost everything occurring within a garden that's a challenge is because of a lack of minerals within the nutrients of the soil.
Sure.
Right? The roots of what's feeding the roots. And the same with the person, where if there's an addiction, almost all addictions stem from lack of self-love or trauma that's interrelated, right?
Yeah.
And when we love the self more, things just fall away. Including when we feel that when we feel secure and we feel whole and we fill ourselves with ourselves rather than feeling a hole or a void or a feeling of lack inside of us with something outside of us, with a let's say a relationship or a food or a drug or a fear, right? Of even watching the news fills this void of fear. I'm more secure if I read the newspaper and I know what's going on in the world. Actually not.
Sure, yeah.
But I love myself. I'm going to go outside and enjoy nature, and I'm going to accept myself for being imperfect, because no one is, and accept that. And then you naturally find things fade away. And so what a lot of times I do is just reflect back to someone how beautiful and amazing they are already. And it's amazing to see what happens when you just tell someone the greatness you see in them. And having them see that, because we base our idea or concept of self on so much outside of us rather than finding what's inside of us. And to me, that's like filling a cavity with sugar.
Yeah.
Right? It's full, but it's going to create a larger void. Really, the only way to fill that cavity or that void within ourselves is with love of the self, is with acceptance of the self, is with connecting with nature and something that's greater than us, inside and out.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome, that whole line of thinking. So, Trent, it's been awesome that you've taken some time to chat with me today and share your wisdom. So tell us how people can get in touch with you if they want to hire you for coaching or your other health and wellness tools. I know you're in Boise, but how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, the bioresonance scanner can actually read DNA. So anyone that's sending in, if someone would like a scan, a full protocol scan, they can email me at Trentamus, Trentamus at awakenthettigerwithin.com, and I can have them send a DNA analysis in one form or another and scan that way. We can also do coaching through Skype, and again, email is the best way to contact me.
Okay.
Leave a phone number and I'll call back.
Yeah, and I'll put your email in the post along with the show notes on my website, gmarkphillips.com.
Okay.
And I had a feeling that you could do remote with this device. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because if people aren't in Boise and want to tap into your awesome intuitive coaching, they can still do that.
Yeah, exactly. We can do everything, even Reiki, long distance. I've been taught by Dr. Higginbotham, Dr. Moriarty, Ashiana Laudabao, years of practice and mastery with that. So really, anything can be
sounds like you have so much to offer your patients.
I do. My clients are seeing what my parents went through, seeing what the world is going through. I've decided to develop myself to be that which I can in order to make the biggest difference in any way. So health is number one. I called my company Awaken the Tiger Within, because when we feel good, we can then take on more things like volunteering and giving back, and instead of worrying about the stress within inside of us. I don't know about you, but when I'm stressed, I don't feel the capacity to do
everything
much.
Focuses in, and it's like,
you're trying to heal that wound, right? If you have a hurt arm, you're gonna focus on the pain of the arm and how to fix it. It's the same with inside. So I've really asked the universe, the divine self of all things that is, we're an interweb of connected symphony, and tapping into the notes of what is ultimate and divine reality, and saying, how may I serve? How may I I'm obviously here to make a difference, as we all are, to find our strengths, to find our passions, and then to connect it into the world. There's one thing I want to leave on, is that if we're all worried about making money, right, the world is not going to last very long. It already isn't. It's a real thing. Whatever anyone believes, just look at common sense. It's not. Our health is going down. This is the first generation that's expected to live less long as any time ever before. It's the first time ever. It doesn't make sense with all the advances in, quote unquote, the medical field, right? Mm-hmm. And so there are 40% less animals in the world that are extinct now. The water resource, I mean, you could go on and on. These things are true. Yeah. It just makes sense that with how many people there are being. So we really have to be conscious of the resources that we're using every day, ourselves personally, and also what we're doing to give back to this world. And so I've really continually developed and found my obsessions and passions about giving back. And someone like with this, I love that you're doing this, because this is your way of providing back and also finding a way to make money in doing it.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Because we can't live without money.
Right.
We're not at a resource-based economy yet. Hopefully that comes to fruition at some point, but right now it's not. So
right.
What are our passions? Always someone asks me in coaching, when they want to find their purpose. I ask them, what are they most passionate about and what pisses them off the most?
It's perfect.
And then taking that, learning as much as you can about it, becoming an expert in that field, and finding a way to monetize it. So there's a way to monetize anything. There's a lot of people monetizing things that aren't beneficial to the world, that are not beneficial to someone's psyche or reality. So what is a way that we each individually have a gift that we can share with the world? So finding that and giving it back.
Yeah, and we talked about that the other day, about the fact of, we each have not only an obligation, but the right to say, what does the world need? Yes. What do I think the world needs? Mm-hmm. And, the person who invented Coca-Cola thought the world needed Coca-Cola. Not judging. The person who invented McDonald's thought the world needed McDonald's. Not judging. Mm-hmm. But each of us has the ability to say, hey, you know what? I got something the world needs, and put it in the marketplace and let the marketplace decide, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why your clients come to you, because they trust you and you have deep knowledge and you can help them heal their lives.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can see that.
And when we look at life as a virtual reality game, and there's a lot of science backing that. It is an out there belief. I even agree with that.
I like that analogy.
Over years of time, I've come to believe that more and more. The Holographic Universe is a great book for that. There's a lot of resources out there that kind of prove that's
definitely
true. And if we think of video games, there's got to be a point to it, right? There's got to be this bad guy to compete with in order to make it fun. If we just walked through every level and played with anything, and then it would be boring.
Totally.
Right? And I always say, what would Super Mario Brothers be doing without the Koopa? Without the Koopa, they wouldn't have a princess to save. And without a princess to save or a Koopa, they would be plumbing. They would be plumbing. They're plumbers.
Yeah, so pretty menial for a life purpose kind of a thing.
Now they have the ability and the chance to be heroes, and the world knows about them because of the Koopa, because of the adversary, right? And the adversary isn't outside of us; it's inside.
Yeah.
So if you look at a direct reflect of the war that's going on inside, and a relation to the world, like Mr. Trump. He's a great example of our ego, right? He's a beautiful example of that.
Yeah.
And now the world is waking up because they're seeing their ego more in front of their face, which I'm excited about him being here, because it is a step towards a greater future.
It is.
And us, just like me, I noticed my ego and through some significant experiences of it. And then now that I'm no longer blind to that, I can then be more aware and awakened and find a place of being something greater, like we had spoken before. So Coca-Cola and McDonald's, and those are all Koopas, right? And
right.
We're the Super Mario Brothers that now have a purpose to save the princess, which is Mother Earth, which is the world, which is ourselves, which is a beautiful game that we've decided to play this time.
Yeah. I talking with you is fascinating, and just hearing how you see the world, and that it is the game, and not to invest your emotional well-being in it, right? But see it for what it is, like this evolutionary process that's just step up to higher and higher levels, right?
Exactly. Yeah. They found that through quantum physics that there's one thing that connects all, and they call it the divine unified field. So if you take just that understanding, everything is the divine. And that includes us, right?
Yes.
So the divine, to me, if it can manifest all of this, it's probably not limited in what it can manifest, right? So there's no reason to be worried. There's no reason to be concerned. But there is a reason to step up our game and to make a difference and stop worrying about money, right? Money isn't everything. I know several multimillionaires that I coach and work with that are not happy.
I've heard
They're
that.
not happy. And Danny Goodman, he's told me story after story. He teaches the rich and the famous, and he tells me he gets to know them intimately, and none of them are really happy.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Happiness comes inside from accepting, loving, being in the moment, and connecting with the divine of all things, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
Well, the question that you answered it. You did great. No, this whole interview has been awesome, Trent.
Yeah.
So one, I definitely want to come back and talk more about the Reiki at some point down the future, because we didn't touch too much on that. But I also want to clarify. I do know when I said, hey, it sounds like you are like able to help your patients heal on these levels. I know it because we've been friends for quite some time. What has it been, like 3 or 4 years now? And you've helped me immensely in all those different areas, just your deep knowledge and your presence and all of it. So thanks for, sitting down with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. I always enjoy being around you, and this is really fun to do. And I hope that this offers something to someone in which relieves their suffering. The last thing I did want to touch on is that it doesn't take much to make a big difference. It really doesn't. I had a friend invite me to volunteer at a church to serve some food. I said, of course. It took 2 hours. I felt amazing afterward. So I came the next week, and they had extra food that week. They were going to throw it out. I said, let me take it to the people that are living in tents just down the street. And you should have seen their faces light up from having food. So I went back the next week, and they had more food. Did the same thing. And I tell you what, it supercharged me for the rest of the week.
I bet.
It felt better than owning sports cars, right? It felt better than more than money has ever bought me. And so what I did is, after a while, I was only getting through an eighth of the people that lived there. So I raised a little bit of money, and then we started tripling the amount of food, and we were feeding 100 people a week off, I think, $50 to $100.
Wow.
And there was a system already in place. The church, the people that were volunteering at the church would just take a couple more hours of what they were doing. I would take the food, bring it over, serve them, and with maybe 4 extra hours, $100 a week, we'd feed 100 people, including children.
Wow.
Some little children that sometimes hadn't eaten in days. The parents would come to me and say, my child has not eaten in 2 days. Thank you for bringing this food. And I would think it wasn't anything. I literally just show up, grab the food, bring it over, serve it, and the chef doesn't feel like he's doing much either. He's like, I'm already doing this.
Incremental increase.
Yeah.
Exponential
utilizing
benefit.
The intelligence of current systems efficiently and effectively, adding just a little bit more and making a much bigger difference. That's all it takes. It doesn't take huge shifts, including in our life. Make one little small change a day. One little small change, and do that over a period of time, and watch your life significantly change from doing so.
I love it. That's great advice and a great way to end this great interview. Trent, again, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Mark. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. All right, we'll wrap it up. Until next time, all the best, health, wealth, and success. Bye-bye.